Welcome back, everyone, to Daybreak. 6:30 is your time. For weeks, we've had to stay home and practice social distancing when we're out doing essential activities because of COVID-19. The state's stay-home order is set to expire this week, which could pose some problems right here in Travis County. Joining me once again, we have Austin Mayor Steve Adler. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Yvonne. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. So given the state's Thursday expiration date, I know AustinTravis County, we set our date for May 8th, but that was done purposefully, right? Because depending on what happens this week, will you all be adjusting your date?
Well, we're going to have to adjust our order regardless of what the governor does. But certainly because we anticipate the governor to make changes in his order as well. He's going to have his order. We would anticipate that part of it may go into effect the first week in May. We had our current order expire on May 8th so that we would have that first week to rewrite our order. We're not out of the woods yet. This virus is still real infectious. And there's still a lot of work that as a community we need to be doing to tamp this down. We're not going to be really out of the woods on this until there's a vaccine or better treatment. So I would anticipate that we may have orders of some kind through this process to help the community navigate it.
And, in last week's city council meeting, I know the council, a few items were approved, including more funding for tests. How soon could we see that happening, more funding?
Well, the funding from the city action has already started to be deployed. The council took action on the RISE fund to make sure that we were getting actual money and assistance through nonprofits to people in the community that are least covered by the social safety net and least supported by the federal actions. We put emergency funding toward artists and toward musicians. There are a lot of activities that we funded in terms of housing relief and support, and that money is already being deployed. The loan program we talked about earlier that people should contact the Economic Development Department on. This money is being put to work right now.
Very good news there. And it's been about 6 weeks or so, give or take, since coronavirus has become an everyday word. What kind of advice do you want to give to people who are just simply feeling exhausted and overwhelmed by all of this? What would you like to tell them?
Well, I think some measure of exhaustion and feeling overwhelmed is absolutely normal, and I think we're all feeling that. But I think it's also important at this time to really take a hold of everything that we've been able to accomplish. A month ago, we weren't sure as a city whether we could make this surge, this spike, flatten out. We didn't know, and we've been able to do it successfully. There's a spirit of selflessness in our community, people really wanting to help one another. And we've seen the most grand display of that I have seen in my life. You always know that it's there, but the power of that spirit in our community, we've never seen the way that we have seen it now. And it's important that we recognize that and celebrate that, know that we were each part of that. This is not easy, and at times it can be overwhelming, but we have to recognize what we've been able to accomplish and the lives that we've been able to save.
Yes, the level of kindness and humanity, I've seen that, and it is inspiring and it feels good. Yes, you're right. Before we go, though, Governor Abbott talked about the possibility of opening up salons possibly soon. What's your take on this?
Well, I'm going to be concerned as we start opening up by anything, because as we do that, we're going to have more infections and we're going to have greater risks. There are things we can do to mitigate that, and we know a lot more than we did a month ago. We're going to be able to monitor what's happening, and we know ultimately that if we needed to, we could return to exactly what it is we're doing now, and we know we have the capacity to be able to shut it down. But But as we start having businesses that adapt, I'll tell you that I'm going to be dipping my toe in cautiously. And as a community, we're going to be watching the numbers to see what the impact is. I'm concerned about salons because you have one person who is over the course of the day really close to lots of different people, and that can present a real challenge in terms of the spread of the virus. So I have concerns.
Mayor Adler, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it once again. Thank you.
Great, man. Thank you. Stay safe.